On UT.
Nerds and geeks, can you believe it? Another week has come. Time is now. The legendary Nerd O Roundtable are here to set it off with Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and quite possibly one of the worst episodes of What If ever. Strange. Wow. Dang. Okay, look. First of all, Sony, I promise you, if this sequel to Venom was as bad as or worse than the first, you are going to get it. We are going to lay waste to everything having to do with Sony moving forward. You all should be banned from the Nerdverse. Really and truly, the round table is here. I see Thomas Talking Cunningham in the building.
What is up?
Ryan, Twitch Master McBain.
Thank you.
Hello.
Happy as a cat in a fish factory. And the one and only Mo Kelly.
Hola, estoy aquí.
All right, look, to answer that question, Venom Let There Be Carnage is quite possibly, if not the worst comic book adaptation ever put on screen. I didn't think it was possible. After watching the first Venom film, which was god-awful, garbage, trash, I said there's no way they could do worse. Now they're all nice and friendly with Marvel. They settled their situation with Tom Holland being able to be in the MCU as well as in the future Spider-Verse, whatever they want to call it. But from the beginning to the end, this film proved to me that Avi Arad and Amy Pascal, they hate nerd culture. They hate geeks. They hate everything having to do with the comic books. If they had their way, they would set every comic shop on fire because they hate everything having to do with it. And I don't believe Tom Hardy, with his role as a co-producer, I believe co-writer of this madness, has ever read a Venom comic book in his life. So that's me off the top.
If I may,
I grew up. You may.
I'm going to try to be very diplomatic about this. I grew up loving all things within the Spider-Man universe. That's something I claim as my own. As an extension of that, Venom. When I saw not only the first movie, but this second movie, it wasn't Venom. I don't remember a Venom who was like a karaoke singer who was clowning around doing cabaret with beads around his neck after women were trying to, I guess, seduce him. It was an unserious, unfunny representation of a comic book character that I did not recognize. I thought it was poorly done. I thought it seemed like they were just improvising the lines after a certain point and trying to be funny when Venom is not a comedian. I didn't understand the need for that. And it just seemed that they were just trying to make a movie. It was 90 minutes long. And I would say it was 40 minutes of that 90 minutes was too long. It was ambling. It was just wandering and meandering with no real direction. And I didn't think that it really deserved to be on the big screen. It would have been fine for some streaming service that really didn't have any real business charging anyone. But since I did pay my money to see this movie, I'm actually very upset and actually wondering how they got me not once, but twice. The first movie, curiosity. Second time, this is just my mistake, but I won't make the same mistake again.
And it deserves to be said that Mo only paid $5 for this movie, and he still had his fish grease. I took 2 of my children to see this travesty, and because I went to AMC, I had A-list for me, and then I had to pay $20 for my older son. I had to pay $16 for my younger son. And as I told you, I went and got victuals and beverages before because they damn sure weren't going to get my snack money, because this was horrific. At clocking in at 90 minutes, including credits, which includes the only part of this movie that even has a point, they spent 3 minutes on a scene where Venom made breakfast badly. And then they spent another 3 minutes on a scene where I guess they were promoting a Sony musical artist, where Venom was superhumanly large, basically got applauded for having a cool costume. And then he got on stage and said something that made no sense and was just stupid and was... This movie was a nightmare, and not a nightmare because Naomi Harris was wasted. Ryan?
So this whole plot, the side plot of Venom and Eddie Brock not getting along, I mean, all that should have been done in the first movie. The whole like, oh, I don't like you, we don't like each other. Okay, once you guys become one, that's when that should have happened. Part 2, oh my God, I just so many things wrong with this movie, and I'm trying not to swear. I'm not going to swear. But I need to swear. I'm probably going to swear. This is what I'm going to do. After I'm done with this, I'm going to mute my mic and start swearing. I gladly would have paid the full price. I paid like $13 of hard-earned money. You know what I'm saying? And I gladly would have paid just to watch the end credit scene. That's all I needed to see.
Yeah.
And you know what? Before we get to Dr. Liz from the Freeway who joined us, all that end credit scene did was show us that Sony has future plans of destroying every single thing having to do with what Marvel and Marvel Studios reestablished with Tom Holland and their Spider-Man. That connection that they made in the end was so out of nowhere and stupid and pointless, trying to force a relationship between Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man that they did not have to do. If you just stuck to the damn origin story, you didn't have to do it. I should have waited and just got the bootleg end credit scene on YouTube. Dr. Liz, I know that you have had some harsh words for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Can you express without cursing, my sister?
She's lost in a reverie of her own. So listen.
I got more, by the way.
Can we... I need to pose a question. Is it possible that there has ever been a less engaging, less likable superhero movie protagonist than Tom Hardy?
Oh, no.
Eddie Brock was a buff, aggressive, football playing, yoked, alpha dude.
Yes.
And Eddie, as portrayed by Tom Hardy, is pathetic. Like, to the point where we're supposed to hate Dan because Dan took Eddie's girlfriend, but by the time Dan ran into the church and set Carnage on fire, I was like, Dan's a G.
Right.
Like, Dan's handling biz. Like, he literally caught his fiance when Venom slow dropped her, in what could have been a Gwen Stacy moment as his life was ebbing away. Dan caught old girl from the mix, saved her, and it was just like, but I thought we weren't supposed to like Dan.
Speaking of Carnage, the dude only had like 12 lines. I'm sorry. I'm still angry, Tom.
And they were all in poetry.
Yeah, look, the only reason. Okay, this is how they're gonna get me, and I'm trying to find a way not for this to happen. The only reason why I'm gonna watch these movies is because it's somehow connected to the MCU, and because these movies are trash.
If
it's a horrible
MCU, that would almost be the same as like letting Bryan Singer come in and direct the MCU's, X films, which they can never let happen on planet Earth. There is nothing good or redeeming about what they did with this film. Nothing that says Marvel Studios made the right decision in brokering this deal to keep Tom Holland as Spider-Man within their Avengers franchise, just to include Tom Hardy's, Venom into a future MCU project. No, Sony has shown that they don't know what they're doing. This looks like further, machinations from Avi Ard, who is still sore about the fact that no one liked Spider-Man 3. No one thought that Venom was good. Ooh. He's still trying to get some get back, and he is screwing the literal pooch with this film. Look, why is Woody Harrelson, as great an actor as he is, why does for the most of the film he acts like he does not know that the camera's on? Like, oh, you guys are shooting right now? I was just rehearsing lines. I didn't know this was an actual take. What is happening here? Liz, is your camera and your mic and everything good now, sister?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Oh, bravo. Okay. Add to the festivities with how much you love this film.
I was speechless at how bad this film is. I mean, the fact that you had to have 24 minutes of previews.
Yes. Oh God.
And then it's 128 minutes of a movie.
No, 90.
Like this is no. I timed it. It is 128 minutes just from preview.
It's an hour
and from
and 28
after the
minutes.
preview.
It's hour and 28.
Yes. It's an active 28 minutes, 128 minutes. Unbelievable. Torture.
That's horrible.
There's nothing positive.
There's a lot wrong with this story and the fact that they refuse to stick to any level of what we've seen before. They gave us a Venom that for most of the film acted like a petulant child. They gave us ineffectual, useless Eddie Brock. They gave us all of a sudden he had this one glorious moment where his career is turned around, but it's still in the toilet for the most part. He's still living in a wrecked apartment, which is still carrying on tropes from the last film. He's still going in having these exclusive interviews with the notepad, dude. That's what again. I'm like, when was this film made? This crack reporter who did learn from the last time of having to leave the damn recording in his boss's office with just the mini disc recorder, whatever. You're still taking dictations and notes with a notepad. His cell phone, from what I could see, didn't look like it had any type of camera or recording device on it. The Ducati that he got, I swear that was like 2014 Ducati. I don't know. All I'm saying is this film looks like it was shot around the same time as the last one, and they're trying to pass it off like this is something new. The only thing that looked new was the end credit scene tying it to the larger MCU universe. That's the only thing that looked like it was recently shot. Just that 2-minute scene.
This movie.
Well, that laptop is new.
This movie,
that laptop is
to me
2018.
To me, it felt like they recently found out that they could use Spider-Man. By the way, spoiler alert: Tom Holland has some type of cameo in the movie in the end credit scene. It felt like they were told, "Hey, by the way, guys, you guys can be in the MCU." Oh, we can? Oh, well, shit. I'm sorry. Well, shucks, guys. Let's shoot something real quick. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
You know what it felt like to me? It felt like I was watching Spider-Man 3 again. We saw that scene with how a church bell will negatively impact Venom. It felt like it was borrowing a lot from Spider-Man 3 and all the bad parts, like they didn't learn anything. It felt like a very old movie, if only because there was nothing visually spectacular about it in a special effects CGI sense. There was nothing special about the story. And I didn't quite understand how Carnage wasn't already in Woody Harrelson, because from the last end credit scene from the first Venom, I was under the impression, and maybe I got this wrong, but I was under the impression that Woody Harrelson had already had a symbiotic relationship with Carnage, and that was part of the reason why he was a mass murderer. If someone disabused me of that notion.
No, that tracks. He was a murderer before he got the symbiote in the comic books. And that part of it, I mean, him being infected with the symbiote, and the symbiote did calve off of Venom, because Venom was the symbiote on the planet at the time. And so what it did was it more or less did exactly what it did in the movie. It turned his murderous impulses and his capabilities, his fantasies of murder, it turned them to 11. And so that sequence, after he gets the powers and realizes that he has those powers, that's the thing that really moves him into Carnage mode, which wasn't bad. Carnage didn't look bad when the full CGI versions of Venom and Carnage were fighting. They were okay, but all of the transitions of going to the actor to the full CGI thing, those were a nightmare. And the half Eddie face at the end with the teeth poking out as he says something.
That's from the first movie.
No, I'm saying in this one too.
Yeah,
he
but
says it to Eddie. To Cletus at the end.
But do you remember in the end credit scene from the first movie, Woody Harrelson says, "Let there be carnage," if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that was a phrase that was already on his lips. So then to have the symbiote be named Carnage doesn't make sense to me, given what they said in the first movie of how all the amoebas had their names.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Woody Harrelson was in the closing credits.
Yes. He was in the closing credits of the first film, which was the thing that was supposed to make everyone excited, saying the next film is going to have Carnage in it.
Yes,
well,
that's how they ended the first one.
I think that speaks to one of your questions. Well, but I think that speaks to one of your questions, Twala, about why it's a 2014 Ducati, because this movie clearly is supposed to take place almost contemporaneously with the first movie. So not much time has passed. So he wouldn't have gotten anything other than that brand new Sony Bravia TV after the previous TV just happened to be broken. Because why not put a Sony Bravia product placement in a Sony movie if you can?
But then why have an Apple? Then why have an Apple computer?
Well, because the Sony Viega line or whatever, I don't think they're in the computer business anymore.
Did they explain why Carnage hates Venom? You're just like, as soon as we see Carnage, he's like, I want to kill Venom.
That's his son. That's his son.
I know that. I know that, but they never explain why he hates him.
Well,
I don't care.
From my understanding,
me either, trust me.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think the whole thing was that Cletus is crazy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So he's a full-blown psychopath. So that helps. And then the fact that Carnage was trying to be the top dog. Well, at the end, we find out what I really wanted was your love. What?
What?
What serial killer who killed 35 people? You wanted Eddie Brock's love? What are you saying?
You wanted to be friends.
Why did he say it?
Oh my God.
Why?
Oh, I just can't.
I laughed.
Not only that, this idea, to me in the beginning, the opening scene was absolute trash, and it set it up for just to be a garbage movie. Why was why was Shriek in this prison, and all of a sudden her powers are discovered? You don't take her out with nothing but a couple of guys and you put her in the back of a van, even after you identify that she had some type of power level. What to me, I was like, what type of Keystone Cop stuff is
no
this?
earplugs?
You literally said that is powerful individual, and you're putting her in a van, just sitting across from somebody. Oh my God! Why?
Even Hannibal Lecter
was gagged.
Right? He had a mask, and this is a chick. She literally, her whole power is taking deep breaths and deafening people. That's her whole power. And they said, you know what we'll do? We'll have Joe and this future officer take her out back and put her in the damn transport van. Wow. Who could have saw something bad coming from that? But earplugs wouldn't even protect you. It might protect you from going deaf, but the sound waves were going to blow you out the van. No, anyway.
But at least give you a try. Like, I mean, something.
They didn't even gag her. That's the thing. That's the main thing.
No, they did. They really treated this film like no one's going to pay attention to any of this. No one's going to care. No one's going to pay attention to.
No, they treated this film dialogue as $110 million. This was $110 million.
That's $100 million too much for this film.
No, it's $109.5 million too much. This was as bad as an episode of Titans season 3. This was horrible. Yeah. There was nothing about this movie that made sense. There was nothing about this movie that, and again, to the point, why does Venom, who has not been exposed to a spider person, any person with powers, why does Venom care that Peter Parker, who's just wearing a costume that doesn't look anything like Venom, because Venom isn't related to spiders.
Yes.
Why is he licking Tom Holland's face?
Okay, I have an idea about this.
Okay, hold on. You try to explain it, Liz. Say it. Hell.
Because he was shot through the multiverse. So then that means that Venom was probably alive in some way. Maybe he came to Earth before. No, that doesn't work.
Hive knowledge. No, hive knowledge. Someone knows about Peter.
No, but that would have to be Topher Grace's Venom, who would be on one about that. Topher Grace Venom, I get. Because just like Doc Ock says, hello, Peter. If Topher Grace's Venom has one for Tom Holland, that makes sense. But Venom, first of all, Venom is quote unquote a good guy in the Sonyverse. So how are you setting up your good guy against the most favorite good guy?
Here's how they're doing it. I'm telling you, the reason that they had that whole sick fascination with Peter Parker in the end is because they want to try to force the rejection for their meetup film, where then that's going to cause Venom to, I guess, go down a dark path. But then by the end of the film, Eddie Brock is going to say, hey, no, Peter Parker is a good guy. And then they'll all be freaking friends. And that's trash.
If you watch the end credits scene, it takes place right after Spider-Man 2. And before that, Venom and Eddie Brock are saying, like, we're going to be the lethal protector.
No, it doesn't take place right after Spider-Man 2. Well, because the multiverse just happened. So it has to take place in the middle of Spider-Man 3.
He sees the TV screen and and it's showing that Tom Holland is Spider-Man. So he thinks that he's the bad guy. So that's the best explanation I can give.
Because he's a bad guy at that point. He's considered a villain.
It makes no sense, Liz.
Because J. Jonah Jameson says he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Right, because that was the clip, J. Jonah Jameson.
Exactly.
Well, then, so what you're basically saying is, as I said earlier, Sony is on a path to destroy the Spider-Man film legacy. If either my theory or Ryan's theories are correct, then it's all bad. It's all bad. If he is going to all of a sudden sitting on the beat say, we're going to be the lethal protector, and then he just sees one video clip.
But he sees
crash later.
He goes the multiverse crash. He ends up on the bed. So this is the reason why he's not going to be in Spider-Man 3. Because this is happening simultaneously in Spider-Man 3 because this works, supposedly.
But what's extra annoying about this is that Morbius has been delayed because of the pandemic.
There we go.
But those trailers which show Michael Keaton / Vulture and show the Scorpion guy who it was from the original Spider-Man Homecoming, we already knew that the multiverse or that the MCU was bridging with the Sonyverse. We knew that. It's not a surprise. And the only reason to be excited about Venom coming to interface with Tom Holland is if Venom is a bad guy. If there's actual venom between the two characters. And there isn't. Eddie Brock doesn't want Venom to kill anybody, even bad guys. And so now we're going to have an existential conversation about Eddie trying to restrain Venom, because Eddie certainly can't believe that just because somebody says they're a bad guy, because Venom and Eddie are considered bad guys by the police. They know that that's not a just ruling. So why would they just automatically flip and get into a bloodlust over a 15-year-old kid who is running around saving people?
Okay, I have a question.
None of it makes sense.
It makes no sense. But bringing up Morpheus is exactly where I was thinking. Morbius. Are you looking forward to Morbius? Are you looking forward to it?
No.
I don't mind. I think Jared Leto looks really good as Morbius, and I don't mind the movie, but it's certainly not an essential part of the Spider-Verse to me.
It's made by Sony, so we all know what's going to happen.
Well, we know it's going to be trash.
Well,
the problem is the same studio that gave us 2 trash films in a row within the Spider-Verse after their previous trash universes with both the final film from Tobey Maguire and then both of the trash films from Andrew Garfield. That is a history of trash with Spider-Man. That is a history of spiders being stepped on as they walk through your house and you saying, oh, hell no, spider, not in my house. No. That's what Sony did. So now they're going to continue this.
You get Spider-Man 2 and you get Into the Spider-Verse. Them's your two. Because the first Spider-Man isn't even all that.
No, it's not.
But Spider-Man 2 is epic and Into the Spider-Verse is epic. Those are your two Sony Spider movies that make sense. The rest of it, I had some friends from New Bedford, and one of them said, your breath smells like warm garbage. That's what this is, Sony. Your slate of Spider films is warm garbage. Fetid refuse warming in the Southern California sun and giving off such an offensive stench of awful that no one will be going back for a second portion.
Did you just go Alicia Keys on us?
Did I just what?
Did you just go Alicia Keys on us?
Wait.
No one.
But how long can you really delay Morbius though? Like it's becoming stale.
No, Morbius is first quarter 2022.
I think it comes out in January.
Yeah. They were
After
talking about
the
pushing
Spider-Man.
Well, but they were talking about pushing Venom until
Yeah.
after the third Spider-Man when they were afraid, but then Shang-Chi had a 4-week run, and so they pushed it up to take advantage of all of the heat that the leaked Spider-Man trailer that they engineered started to create in the marketplace. But when you compare yourself to a gold mine and you're a raggedy piece of aluminum foil from a rip-top can from 1970, that's not a favorable comparison. Nobody's going to be saying, wow, look at what Sony can do. Because it's not Sony doing that.
I know they booed in my theater. I mean, it was a collective boo.
They groaned in mine.
Yeah.
What made me shake my head is I'm going on Twitter, and there's some people out there that actually like this movie. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Right.
They don't know
Ryan,
Venom.
let me explain something to you. Back in the day, in the music industry, record companies would hire just entire rooms full of kids to call the radio station and say, hey, I want to hear that brand new record from so-and-so. Hey, can I hear that brand new record from so-and-so? That worked up until we got a phone database which showed us where every call was coming from so we could say, block, 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 block. Guess what, guys? You're not really getting any requests. You can easily hire a room full of, just a team full of promoters in another country just all day long. Venom is the most epic thing ever. It's the best release from the MCU yet. I saw that. That's horrible.
Yeah.
It's at 60% on Rotten Tomatoes.
But it started off at 75. So this is falling quick.
More people are seeing it.
The thing is this, there's some people I talk to this day that like the first film. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
To this day.
My husband is one of them, and I'm still puzzled.
Does he know the Venom character? That's the thing. If you go in and you don't know the character, if you're unencumbered by the history or the source material, then I guess you can accept the idea of a symbiote who's a comedian who likes to get beads and is going to do one-liners all night.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that they're trying to promote Venom as a gay character because of that?
Wait, what?
Scene? Yes. That scene where he's talking about, I'm just out. And they wanted to hide me.
He said he's out there.
I could not.
Yeah, I don't think he meant it that way, but whatever.
I know that, but I'm saying that this is another way that people are trying to promote this film and think that this is a good thing when it's like that scene was really that bad. Scene was horrible.
Listen, the problem with this movie is that Carnage wasn't the villain. Yeah. The screenwriter was.
Yeah.
And Andy Serkis was a bigger villain as director than he was as Clow in Black Panther. And he was a good villain in Black Panther.
Yeah. He's basically Thanos in this.
Yeah, he ended well, he didn't really end my dreams because when I saw Venom, I knew that there was no chance that this character was going to do anything. But I did go back and watch the extended post-credit scene. Carrot Top, I'm sorry, Woody Harrelson, did say "Let there be carnage," but he only said "Let there be carnage" because he had to say that so that the audience would understand that carnage was going to be in the thing. He did not have a symbiote in him at that point.
But to say "Let there be carnage" and he ends up with a symbiote who gets to choose his own name, Carnage, that just makes no sense.
Did Venom yeah, I guess they do refer to him as Venom. But does the symbiote necessarily do the name? Why am I trying to pretend like I care?
In the first film, they all had Earthbound names, which was weird because none of them had ever been to Earth, but they all had Earthbound English pronounced names based on some terrible thing.
See,
from
this goes back to my theory that they may have been here before.
Well, in the comics, you're right. They have
in the comics, yes, but in this film universe, no.
No, but they retrofitted that, Ryan.
They're trying to possibly bridge it back to the old Spider-Man, which is why he sees Spider-Man and licks the screen.
But they retrofitted them. No, they retrofitted the "they've been here all along" thing. Venom came from Battle World, and Peter Parker needed a new costume, and then they expanded it from there, which is fine. It turned into an epic character and an epic run in the comic books. Don't have a problem with any of that. The problem with this is just that it's trash.
Yes.
Ooh,
unnecessary trash. Trying to leverage a popular character because they screwed the pooch on Spider-Man. They knew they couldn't do Spider-Man for a while because they lent him to Marvel. So they said, what can we exploit? Oh, Venom. Venom is super Spider-Man adjacent. Let's just see if Tom Hardy can do it. And Tom Hardy couldn't do it. And yet there's a third film set up, even though, spoiler alert, Carnage, Cletus Cassidy Carnage is dead at the end of this movie.
And Carnage is dead too because he eats the symbiote.
Well, yeah, but
he absorbs the symbiote.
Right, but the symbiote could technically take another host. And by the way, are we going to deal with the fact that Venom basically killed like 10 or 12 people body hopping?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Because in the first movie, it was definitely established if you were not a good fit for the symbiote, he burned your body out and you died. Yeah. The only one who didn't die was Mrs. Chen.
Yeah.
I guess because he wasn't in there for too long.
I'm sick and tired of that subplot too, of him body hopping. And also I get it that you have to be a special person to take on the symbiote. So only Tom Hardy. No, hold on.
No, but this version though doesn't do that. This version is I'm eating
do it.
They did do it. They did do it.
No, it doesn't match with the first Venom.
Just hold on. Let me say this. Thank you. I'm sick and tired of the body hopping, and they've established that you have the person has to be a good match for the symbiote, or the person's gonna die. Okay, so Tom Hardy, it works, and all of a sudden, his girlfriend, it works too, but everybody else it doesn't work with.
It was brief. It burned out your body. It wasn't like an instantaneous thing. You could hold the host, you could hold the parasite for a while. But if you weren't a match, you couldn't symbiotically relate. And so girlfriend, who was so disturbingly, I know it's Michelle Williams or whatever, but she was so Kirsten Dunsty. I was I don't
think that was intentional.
But it was intentional in the worst way.
I agree.
And so she just carried Venom for like 15 minutes, just long enough to get him into jail. So she has no negative side effects. Mrs. Chen carried him for an hour or so, and she wasn't doing anything but selling Now and Laters and Lucy's. So that wasn't a problem. It was the people who he was running around and doing stuff with, like Brother Man, the first person he body hopped onto. You know that brother dead. Yeah. He dead as hell because the meth head who crawled into Mrs. Chen's bodega. He was dead too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he dead.
Yeah.
Was anyone bothered by the fact that Venom sounded like Bane, or Tom Hardy slipped into Bane a little too often in the movie?
Yep. What do you mean, Mo?
Definitely.
Everything about this movie bothered me. Every single thing. There was nothing unbotherable about it.
It wasn't a classic, buddy film. There was nothing funny about it. The action was not exciting. There was nothing exciting. I saw it in IMAX. and I was like, wow, I really should have saw this in like, you know, a dollar theater. There's nothing about this film that demands the type of money that I spent or the time that I spent watching this. I'm beyond pissed off at Sony. I think that Sony as a studio should be shut down because of things like this.
God,
I think it's decisions like this that are made that everyone involved. I'm talking the catering company. I'm talking about the Best Boy, the Key Grips. I'm talking about craft services. Anyone whose name was assigned to this film should be blackballed from the industry. You should never, ever be allowed to be a part of anything again for this trash.
And
this trash is offended. Trash is offended.
I know that you and we're Tom Hardy fans.
Yes.
We were.
Yes.
So it's not like him on Tom Hardy. That's definitely not the case.
No. It is when you are so offensive to comic book adaptations. These are the movies that have all of these jackass producers and directors out there who are, you know, hating on, you know, superhero films. This is what they're talking about. When they say that the superhero film genre is trash, they watch a movie like this and they say, see what I'm saying? This is what I mean. Venice Delanova Villavillakova. Look, he is saying that Marvel films are trash because of stuff like this. Look, Villavillakova is right when you look at this.
I have the solution. The new Sony studio head should be Ray Fisher.
Oh, but man needs a job.
He needs a job. Why not?
Hey, look, I believe that at least Ray Fisher would have much more respect for the character. Ray Fisher's fight to get Cyborg some real representation was real.
This is my point.
His fight was real, and when you saw his story, you were like, okay, bro, you were seriously, and you were like, don't disrespect at least the work that I put in. Got it. He should be mad about this. He should be like, how are you going to do Venom wrong like that? That's another black man that's been taken down by a superhero film.
Okay, can we ask a question about what if?
Sure.
Please.
Oh God, get me started on that.
Wait, look, how many questions? Because from this last episode of What If was bogus and BS from beginning to end. This episode was whack.
I'm gonna say that the only good thing about this is I got to see the trailer of Eternals again in theater, and I was like, I think they're trying to make a connection between What If. I am going to make a hypothesis on record. Why the rolling of the eyes, guys?
Because I know what you're about to say, and you were reaching further than Venom's extension of his symbiote arm.
Don't pull your hamstring on that stretch.
Because here it comes. Go on ahead and say it when they clearly articulate in the trailer that the instructions came from Arishem the judge. But go on ahead and say it.
Forget it.
No,
it's okay.
I know, because I want to hear it because you're putting it on record. So I want to hear
because
it. Because
I think that this episode of What If was a direct connection between the Eternals, and I think that the Watcher is going to have some realm of possibility being affiliated with the Eternals. That's what I think.
Look, I just want to make sure that at like almost the 40-minute mark of this podcast, it's on record that Liz believes that the Watcher is going to make an appearance or somehow connected.
I didn't say make an appearance. I just think that there's a connection.
Or connected. Okay. That's what I said. Or connected to Eternals.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember Uatu or any of the other Watchers balling on Infinity Gauntlet level power.
Nope.
No.
They're ancient and they watch.
Yes.
But
they're voids.
When did Uatu like ball out with like the armor and like shooting laser beams and punching people through dimensions?
No,
and all
but
that
was
stuff.
After he revealed himself to be a genuine coward and a punk ass. And they really they brought him down and reduced him to such a basic human level that I'm like, wait a minute, what conversation is this Watcher having after Voltron sees him, which none of the Infinity Stones really should have given him the ability to do.
Or the internet.
None of the Infinity Stones should have given him the ability, especially because of the fact that this Vision / Ultron only has his universe earthbound knowledge. Yeah. All the other planets he went to, he immediately destroyed. He wasn't brainiacking them where he was just absorbing knowledge. He was just going around destroying them. So his knowledge base should have stopped with all the knowledge absorbed on planet Earth. Planet Earth.
But also, Loki established that the Infinity Stones only work in their home universe. So how is he still powerful in
can we talk about
universes?
that? Can we discuss that?
They were supposed to be just weights, paper weights.
Yeah, paper weights.
By the way, how many Infinity Stones did Thanos have before he was murked in half?
He had 5.
He had 5. Yeah. Okay, so he gets one shot. He gets split in half, perfectly balanced as all things could be. And like, okay, so dude, Captain Marvel lasted longer.
To speak.
But wait, I have reconsidered my objection to that, and this is why.
Okay.
When Thor hit him in the shoulder, Thanos said you should have gone for the head. Mm-hmm. And Thanos, even though he didn't have the Infinity Stones when he was on his farmer planet, Thor was able to chop his head off with Stormbreaker. So Vision, who was wielding an Infinity Stone, which gave him all of the powers of the mind, which means full psionic abilities, which means hyper powerful telekinesis and everything else. I could believe that a ruthless intelligence that was a computer intelligence. Now, Bettany Vision wouldn't have done it because Bettany Vision was hesitated, but Voltron was like, this is a threat. I'm dispatching the threat. And before Thanos had a chance to do anything, he was like, you just teleported. Goodbye. And he cut him in half.
He had five stones. And
but it wasn't
five. Let's not Cosby this. Let's not Cosby this. But he didn't wield them. Remember, Thanos in the movies had to wield the stones. There's no force field stone.
Okay. They established in Infinity War that Stormbringer was one of the few weapons that could actually kill Thanos.
Stormbreaker. Yeah, Breaker.
Stormbreaker. The axe, okay? The axe. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So for him to get one shot like that, stop it.
But it was another Infinity Stone. It was another Infinity Stone, though.
The problem was a Mind Stone. You said, since we know that this is in the MCU timeline up until the point of Ultron creating Vision, if we continue that timeline, we know that Paul Bettany Vision struggled with Corvus Glaive. Okay, he was in a certain power set. So I have to think that Ultron, the evil Ultron, was in the same power base with just one Infinity Stone. So I don't think he could have murked Thanos that easily.
Well, but
Loki tried to kill Thanos, and he basically stopped him in his tracks. So I'm just saying, I don't know if Thanos would have been murked that easily by just.
But see, here's the difference, though. Paul Bettany was informed by a different moral compass than Voltron. Voltron, DGAF.
Yeah, it was not the Jarvis Matrix.
It was not the Jarvis Matrix. It was the Ultron Matrix in the full Vision body. Now, we don't know. We know that Ultron wanted to be in the Vision body. We don't know what expanded capabilities because, Voltron is at full peak power with full peak ruthlessness. Yeah, and so all I'm saying is that if the Mind Stone gave gentle giant Vision sufficient powers to destroy Ultron at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron, because that's what he did. He killed Ultron. So if Ultron is now powered by the Mind Stone and his consciousness has been expanded and whatever the Mind Stone can actually do, which Vision perhaps never plumbed the full depths of it, then Voltron is, I'm saying, if Thanos is evil and Thanos is trying to track to Earth, as soon as Ultron perceives a threat, he does what Ultron does. And he tries to eliminate the threat, and he uses the most powerful weapon at his disposal.
If he's going to do that, there's a problem with that, though, Tom. There's one major problem, is that the very next person that confronts him that's on from what we've seen thus far in What If, a Thanos power level, when Captain Marvel approaches him, she's able to talk him down, grab him, and drive him into the middle of a planet.
But she was also, here's the difference, though. Her powers came from another Infinity Stone and were always on. Thanos always had to activate the powers. He wasn't absorbing the powers. He didn't have the powers in him all the time. Okay. She had the Tesseract power, and the Tesseract power granted her somehow superluminal flight, energy projection, and super strength. So she had a whole host of powers, and it looks like maybe that it offered some shielding for her because she can breathe in space. So I'm just saying he might have tried to cut her down, but because she is powered constantly by an Infinity Stone, it might not have reacted in the same way. Whereas basically Thanos is a tough dude, but not so tough that he can't be taken down by a cosmic axe and or an Infinity Stone. I guess the Mind Stone's the second most powerful Infinity Stone, I guess.
That's a lot of what if for this what if. Okay, Voltron, Ultron, he had 6. He had the full gauntlet.
Right.
He should have cut her in half, easy, just like that. I don't
Wait,
care.
did he have did he have the full gauntlet when he fought her?
He had everything when she came.
Oh, that's right. He had the full thing.
Going around destroying planets. Yeah. Like she tried to stop him on what is it, the Kree moon or whatever, and he had already destroyed a few other planets.
But can we talk about how Black Widow and Hawkeye were the last Avengers standing on Earth?
Okay, now this is the only reason why I think that.
Earth, because what were they trying to save? Was there anyone else?
No, they were in Moscow. But I'm saying they showed Voltron beating the brakes off Thor.
Yeah.
And shattering the vibranium shield and presumably defeating Hulk. And apparently ripping off at least one of Hawkeye's arms. So I'm just trying to figure out how the two unpowered people, first of all, each of those Ultron robot mechs are many orders of magnitude stronger than a human, and all of them can fly.
The only thing that I thought of is the fact that there are two spies that know every place, every hiding spot, everything for S.H.I.E.L.D. And so
against a robot who's connected to every computer on the planet?
The only thing that I think...
I don't think that works.
Well, because a lot of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s old work, is in paper files, in boxes. Okay. So you can't access that. Don't get me started.
How they use analog...
how they use Arnim Zola.
Look, how they... But not only how they used Arnim Zola, how they were able to... he just happened to have a handy-dandy old school, like a 20th century arrow that plugged into a late 60s computer that was able to download this DOS file, or not even. This was Arnim Zola at that time was still reel to reel. Okay, downloaded. How did
you imagine how many petabytes?
Robot?
How many petabytes of data did he fit in that arrowhead?
Oh my God!
But he shot the arrow into an android head, and they act as if that it's a liquid in this damn arrow. It's like, it's this information. How are you liquidly downloading it into a robot by shooting it in his head, man?
You know what? But if you go back to is it Civil War?
Yeah, when he shoots
when they ever go back. Yeah, but go back to.
No, I know what scene you're talking about, Liz. Hawkeye shoots the arrow and it goes into S.H.I.E.L.D.'s terminal and it starts downloading data. But to Wallace's point, you're taking an analog origination point, trying to suck all these petabytes of data, as Tom said, and then you're depositing it into another robot. It's not like he had a USB port on the top of his head.
No, but I'm saying, wait, remember when I'm trying to think of which one. I think it's Civil War. I don't remember.
No, in the first Avengers, Hawkeye shot an arrow into the helicarrier and messed it up.
No. I'm not talking about that scene. I'm talking about the scene where Black Widow and Cap goes to the bunker.
Winter Soldier.
And so it's because they didn't get a floppy disk. They put it on a thumb drive. And it was
remember,
like they had
that was in the Lemurian Star. That was on the ship.
No.
I'm talking about under the bunker.
Went to the bunker. I know what you're talking about, Liz.
In the Arnim Zola. Yeah, they had it set up because Arnim Zola, even though he was originally on those analog tapes, they had to keep communicating with him, so they added a USB bus to it.
Look, all I'm gonna say is this episode was written by Sony. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, it's not
it is.
It
is that bad.
It's not that
bad.
Okay, so here's the real question is, what does it set us up for in the final episode?
Disappointment.
Trash.
Disappointment. Yeah.
Okay, you know what
I don't think Thanos Gamora is gonna close it all off?
Possibly, but if the ultimate goal of this storyline was to take it from each episode being its own what if to this being one long what if movie that ends with Uatu bringing together all of the different collected main protagonists from all these what if episodes to have a standoff in destroyed wherever New York, where now instead of Chitauri aliens, it's Ultron bots, and they're all fuck out of here. I'm sorry, I can't help it. This is horrible. I'm so mad about this.
This is what I think is going to happen. I don't think we're going to get Gamora. What I think is going to happen is we're going to get the immortal Iron Fist, protector of Kunlun, sworn enemy of the hand.
Good night.
Okay, let me just. Here's the existential question of the episode. The last 3 episodes of What If, which is 90 minutes, compared to Venom, Let There Be Carnage, 90 minutes.
What if?
Which
What
if is better? You're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure.
Track record that I can draw upon and say there's a potentiality of it being entertaining and make sense and not make me angry. I don't have that history with Venom at all.
Right. So just as an aside, he doesn't say let there be carnage at the end of the scene. He says there will be carnage. And so he was making a general statement, poorly scripted, as a person who is a sociopathic murderer.
They should have used a synonym.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, but once you say carnage,
I understand. But guys, listen, it's a damn promo for the sequel. They're not going to use "Let There Be Evisceration." They're going to use the damn catchphrase. It's just like Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, where there's power and responsibility. It's not going to be where you have great strength. You have an obligation to use the strength. They're going to do the catchphrase.
Yeah, but we're so used to like Endgame. The name of the movie Endgame has been put through the whole, 10 years of the Marvel films Endgame. And so it's like we're looking for sophistication. What we got was
trash.
Nope.
What we got was carnage.
We did.
That is true. On both fronts. This has been a surprisingly bad week for Marvel. Just as a company to have a weak affiliation with Sony, which is kind of one of the things. It's like, I'm sure
fall off next week.
It's like, nah, that's my cousin and them. They don't know what they talking about. Don't even invite them over next year. Every time they come around.
But next week is Bond. So nobody is going to remember.
Carnage is a wrap.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
No, it ain't no
No. We and now is next week the season finale of What If?
Yes.
Or is it 2 more?
No, next week is the last one. This is the penultimate one.
Then it's not looking like What If is going to end on a good note then. I'm sorry. Unless something miraculous could happen, and I don't put it past Marvel to have thrown us all for a loop with this past episode, and then the next time around it's like, well, you guys should have waited because this was all going somewhere. But this is a bad setup. It's a bad setup. Boo to you for this week on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Period. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. All righty. Was there anything else I'm missing out there? Nope.
No.
No. All right.
We good.
Cool. Then Mo, take us out.
You fight like a young man. Hold nothing back.
Hey, Sony. You.
Liz.
I just wanted friendship.
Where is my watcher suit?
Excelsior!